came from a blog that I wrote last week. It's called Senator McCain Introduced Governor Palin on a Garbage Can Lid. Remember that Cosby Show episode where Vanessa brought home Dabness, the maintenance man she met on campus? Clip and Claire, indeed beware. The guy walking through your front door will be your new son-in-law. Vanessa did not share that the time they spent put the relationship in a new place where they can now embrace new adventures ahead. Stunned looks on their face as Clip and Claire try to erase the disgrace that their daughter has placed on them. Clip looked at Dabness in disappointment and sadness, but asked him, "Son, what's your favorite thing to eat?" And Dabness tried to be nice and imply that the dinner served tonight was indeed great. Clip stressed even further, "What do you like to eat?" Dabness said, I like a good steak." Clip said, "Okay, how about some onions? As a matter of fact, let me bake up some mushrooms to place alongside of your steak." As Dabness's mouth began to water and Vanessa looked confused as her eyes wandered, Cliff said, "Now let me get this garbage can lid. I'll place your steak, onions, and baked up mushrooms and place them on this tin, this circular metal that covered the place where Oscar the Grouch lived." As both Dabness and Vanessa looked on in dismay and disbelief, Cliff handed Dabness his entree and placed it in front of his face and said, "Doesn't look inviting, now does it?" Dabness said no. "Well," Cliff said, "that's how she brought you to us. No hesitation, no preparation. This secret that she kept and hid, this is how she presented you to us on a garbage can lid." The same comparison can be made about how Senator McCain introduced Governor Palin to the nation. A hockey mom, a moose-hunting, gunslinging reformer. She came out of nowhere. Don't nobody know her. She wasn't on his short list. She wasn't on his long list. And then he pulled a Harry Potter and magically conjured her up and had the nerve to wonder why the media was pissed. When's the last time you've been to Alaska? Lord knows I've never been. I'm positive that most Americans even forget that Alaska is even a part of the Union and that all this political hypocrisy is starting to be confusing. I mean, who is this woman? And does her nomination automatically mean that the women will rally behind her, that the working class, blue-collar folks will identify with her? McCain, we are not that lame. She's a reformer and a maverick like him. No party nonsense and get the job done like a pit bull with lipstick, as she coined when she made her first big speech. A speech that had more fairy tales and embellishments than Pinocchio's nose, as we dove into the hours of trying to figure out, who is this woman? A hockey mom, a moose hunting, gunslinging reformer who told Congress, thanks but no thanks to that bridge to nowhere, but failed to mention that when she was running for governor, she was for that bridge to so-called somewhere, and that money went somewhere all right to other programs for Alaska that had nothing to do with that bridge. It's not like she lies. She just extends the truth. Now, the rest of us trying to be sleuths, Sherlock Holmes trying to dig hard and figure out where her policies are. There was no forewarning of this woman's existence. She just became the face of his campaign in an instant. Congressional leaders didn't even know who she was. Karl Rove screaming around his house saying, "McCain, what the fuck?" His camp expresses disappointment on how Palin is being portrayed, how the media is digging extensively into her past, finding the falsehood in that record she claims she has. It's not the media's fault that your skeletons are coming to light. McCain did not prepare the nation for what was in sight. If there is anyone to blame for your so-called biased reports and media slander, you need to hammer the man on the head of your ticket because he pulled you out of a hat and expected us to like it. McCain pulled a political move indeed. Now, do you really want to to elect a president who presented his running mate to the nation on a garbage can lid.